Hi, everybody.
Hello, Courtney.
Happy 2021. Welcome to the new year and the new you.
I love that.
All right, so today I'm going to talk about my real estate journey. You can see how long I've been in real estate and where I've come, how far I've come, and habits to adopt, what I do daily, weekly, monthly, that contributed to my success.
Will this be emailed to us?
Sure.
Perfect.
Okay, so in 2017, I became a realtor in Northwest Arkansas. I had lived there for a while. I joined a boutique firm. They did not give us leads. You're on your own. Nobody even went into the office, okay? So I tapped into my friends and family and told everybody what I did. I'm a realtor now, yay. So that's where I got my clientele. Then I did start delving into buying leads myself through Zillow and Realtor. Tapped into it, I did well. In Arkansas, when somebody calls you and says they want to buy real estate, they actually buy it. They follow through. Yep.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So every lead I got that I got in touch with,
So you're like, because you're like off-centered on camera.
all right, I sold basically. But I was still not as successful as I am today. In 2018, I moved to Florida. I knew less than 5 people when I moved here, and 3 of them were my daughters. So basically, I knew barely anybody. Okay. I moved to September. I joined a brokerage that isn't even in this area. They're on the East Coast. They decided they wanted to branch out, and I was going to be the branch. I know nobody. Okay. So I started buying more leads. I started spending over $1,000 a month on leads through Zillow and Realtor.com, because how else was I going to get these leads or sell something? That was not working out for me. I was gaining a lot of debt, a lot, and I wasn't motivated. I wasn't excited. I was just kind of barely making it. Before I moved here, I did save up money to live on. So that was slowly going away. So in 2019, I had started meeting other realtors at going to some of the like realtor events at the board or whatever. I started, talking to people when I was there. And I had met this girl, and she and I worked together for a little bit. She kind of joined my little team here. But again, I knew nothing about real estate in Florida. So I asked, and then she left and came to Premier Listings. And I said, hey, tell me about Premier Listings. Tell me about your brokerage. Tell me.
Who is that?
Epi.
Oh, Epi.
So she said, I love it. I love where I am. It's this cute little office. It's in downtown Delray. Jordana Tobel is amazing. There's trainings and you get leads and all these things. And I said, that sounds like that's what I need. I'm in my condo every single day by myself, and I'm not getting where I need to be. So I joined Premier Listings. That was March of 2019. By the end of 2019, I stopped buying leads completely through Realtor and Zillow. I was done. I was in debt, and I was just done. And I worked my ass off as soon as I got here. I made all the calls. I did all the things that we're trained to do. In 2020, we have a pandemic that came along and decided to put everybody at home again. So what I started doing is making more phone calls. And then I started doing the habits that I'm going to tell you that I do now, that I did for the entire year, that helped me double my income in 2020.
And how did you double your income? Where did your business come from?
My business solely came from referrals. Now, mind you, I've only been here 2 years. Referrals and my leads here. So it's like almost half and half.
Like 50% clients she had worked with in the past and people that she was marketing herself to? and then 50% company leads.
Yep.
Which is amazing.
Out of that 50%, how many were live and how many were pond approximately?
Oh, shoot, I don't
I
know.
couldn't tell you.
It's probably a little bit.
You know your KPIs, like how many phone calls you made in a year, how many contacts that led to.
I
offers?
do.
Good.
I can't tell you the number right now, but I
Yeah, that's.
kept that in my, you know, that chart that we all did for the beginning of this year?
Yeah.
I did it last year.
Mm.
And I kept track of all my numbers in there, all my phone calls, all my sales, where they came from, and the other things that I did along the way too, which I'll tell you. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you know, habits take time and hard work to develop. It can take between 18 days to 254 days to create a habit.
That's huge.
That is huge.
That's
Which
huge.
means if you pick some of the things that I'm going to share with you today, you're going to have to do them every single day.
Yeah, and I want you guys to think about that too, like having, like, for it to take over 200 days to form a habit. So start thinking about those things that you really want and look at your business plan and say, like, this is really what I want to do. I really want to prospect 5 hours a day, and start making that a habit until it is one. And don't give up, because it may not take 2 weeks. It may take
6
7,
months.
8 months.
Okay, so these are my daily habits. Not all of them, but these are most of them. I tried to fit everything in. So every single day, if I'm on leads, and you know, the next morning we wake up in the morning and we have some leads that came through in the middle of the night, I always call them by 10 a.m., right? As we're supposed to. But how do I do that? How do I remember? Because, you know, we all get preoccupied. We can start getting phone calls in the morning. The dog needs to go out, whatever. I have an alarm. Every day at 9:15, my alarm starts. It says, call your new leads. Sometimes I'm in the shower, or I just can't call right now because I'm on the other line. I snooze it. It keeps reminding me until I do it, but I get it done before 10. I go in and I look at my reminders for the day, and I start my clearing of them. The clearing process can sometimes take all day, and sometimes it doesn't happen, because my goal is to get a hold of these people. So I call them in the morning. I don't get a hold of them. I call them in the afternoon around lunch. I don't get a hold of them. I call them again in the evening. I don't get a hold of them. Guess what I do next? They go on the next day, and that whole routine starts over again. I call my attempteds, and again, same thing. Call them in the morning. Don't get a hold of them. Call them the same throughout the day. I go fishing. I try to look for, I do at least 25 new leads a day. I go for more usually, but I'm gonna say that my bare minimum, if I have all
These are
kinds of
calls,
stuff,
Or these are like contacts?
these are ponds.
These are ponds. So
These are calls that you're making, or is it
Like
contacts?
no, it's calls. She's making at least 25 calls.
Not all. of
So
them.
I
And
want
a
everyone
pond, in
to
addition.
remember, whenever we talk about, you know, the NARS, right? The NARS system to follow your daily activities every day. You want to call your new leads, you want to call your attempteds, your reminders, and then doing the saved filters. So that's what she's doing every single day. And this is a habit that she's built in, and it reaps the 100 calls every week minimum. And this is just her,
This is my
just,
bare minimum.
just
And you're
calling
doing
in
that-
the mornings.
You're doing that as you're getting ready to come in. So that starts that process.
This
starts
is
at
all
home.
my day.
But
This
that
is,
starts at home. but
yes,
not
it does,
early,
in
and
the
then you're-
morning.
As you're getting ready and then driving. Okay.
and then my evening calls sometimes happen before I
Yeah.
leave, and sometimes happen
Uh-huh.
by the time I go.
Right.
But I always do it.
But she does it, which is the most important.
But you're
thing.
not calling while you're in the car, you're calling.
No,
I like to have a screen in front of me
me too.
when I call.
Yeah, you can't write anything
Unless I'm calling
down.
someone back.
Right, I mean, I have to write everything.
I keep a call log. Every single day, I get a piece of paper like this from over in the printer, all that trash. I fold it in half. 25 on one side, 25 on the other. And I jot down every single person I called it for, just sometimes it's just their first name, sometimes the whole name, and I mark it off. And I do this for a couple of reasons. I do it, number one, because sometimes they call you back
Mhm.
and you have to figure out who they are pretty quickly.
Mhm.
Is this Bob, or is this John, or is this Chris? Let me know. You know, so I have it there, then I can pull them up really easily on the computer. The second reason I do this is as I'm calling, you know, my reminders or my attempteds or whoever, I jot their names down. If I don't get a hold of them, I go down here again and I jot their names down again. This is my system. It works for me because I'm a very visual person and I need that. I need reminders. I write down everything. So that's what I do every day with my calls, okay? And that is, like I said, the bare minimum as far as fishing goes. Sometimes I make 50 calls. If I'm on a roll, I keep going until I'm just like spent. Also,
Sherry.
I also wake up every single day early. Somebody's,
Yeah, can you
Sherry.
guys please mute yourself?
Sherry needs to mute
Okay.
herself.
Sorry,
Sarah, you're on two
No,
screens.
no,
Yeah,
you just, oh.
she's on both of these.
Okay, so every day, and this is something that Jordana just talked about, and I do it. Wake up every day early in the morning, grab my 2 cups of coffee. I grab my schedule, I prioritize my day, and I start tackling it.
What time do you wake up?
Sometimes 5:30, the latest is 7. That's like a day where I just have been waking up so early all week and running hard, and then I just need to sleep in. But usually I wake up like 5:30. Now here's one that's very important, extremely important. I get ready every single day,
Whether you're staying home or not.
whether I'm staying
Yeah.
home or not. Every day I get up, put my makeup on, I put my clothes on, because you never know when a lead's gonna come through and they're ready to go, right? They need to see something. For example, say you're on leads and you get a call from a buyer. Hey, or you call whatever. And they're like, hey, I've been looking at this house. I drove past it. I really like it. My plane leaves in like 2 hours. I have cash. Here's my proof of funds. I'm ready to go. I drove past it. I've looked at all the pictures. I've looked at everything. It actually meets all the criteria of what I want a house. If it works, if I go there and I physically like it, I will put an offer on it today. Okay, great, buyer. It's actually empty. I can meet you there in an hour. Great. If you hadn't been ready to go, maybe it was 30 minutes, you have to, like go put your makeup on and put your clothes on, or you're here at the office and you're in workout clothes and you have to drive all the way home to put on your clothes, you might lose this guy. And this guy's about to get on a plane and go away and you lost a deal. So I suggest always being dressed and ready to go.
And Courtney had this happen to her, for example, and I remember her coming to me and saying, like, I'm so glad I'm ready to go right now. Because she
Just
actually
happened
she has a buyer who, this guy's like jillions wealthy. He has tons of money. And he was referring her to other doctors. And he calls, Courtney, I have a doctor friend who wants to go see this property.
in town right now.
Almost like $1 million budget. And she's like, I'm so thankful that I'm dressed and ready to go, because had I had to go home,
Right.
I probably would have lost the showing and the chance of meeting that client.
And
On
that's-
days that I will come from the gym or whatever, I always have a bag in my car ready to go.
Always.
Yeah, or do
Makeup and
something
a
along
dress
those
and
lines.
just
Just make
something that
sure that
fits
you're
you
ready
and
to
you
go if the time comes.
Yeah, so you don't have to go home. It just stays
No, I
in my
live
car.
too far, like.
Right, you can't go home. I can't go
Yeah.
home to go like pop in.
And even if this buyer did not buy, but now she and I have a connection.
Yeah.
We've met, she has my information, and I was presentable. I presented myself to her. It's like my little interview, right?
Yeah.
Every person you meet is like an interview.
Yes.
Because
Another thing,
that $50,000 buyer or $90,000 buyer, you have no idea who they know.
Of course.
So it's
You don't
always
know who
good
they're
to,
buying it for.
right, and you don't, and so that's why dress to impress
Exactly.
always, because you want to still show up to that $100,000 property in presentable
Yeah.
attire. Because if you show up wearing those gym clothes and they're like, oh, I have this other person of mine who has millions of dollars in the bank, but you're dressed like a scrub, I'm gonna give them this other realtor who's always.
the last thing is, I 100% believe in this, be in the office.
Yes.
My success, a lot of my success is listening to all of you guys in your conversations, because I listen, and you learn so much from being in the office.
Yeah. Juan is the new guy, which you're gonna be amazing, I can already tell. That would be my biggest big piece of advice. Be here,
Appreciate it.
be here, be here, be here.
Okay,
Yeah.
my weekly habits. Every single week, I make a top 10 list. Now, I had my top 10 list from the week before. I take that list and I go through it and I move people around. Some of them go on the back of the list because they're still warm. but they're not ready yet.
How are you categorizing your top 10? What are your criteria for them?
Ready to buy in the next 30 days.
They're ready to buy.
Ready.
Like we're
Ready
having
looking.
conversations.
Yeah.
We're talking about that they're going to come into town next week.
Okay.
They're actively asking, you know, like just asking questions about the different properties I'm sending. They're ready.
Yeah.
Like you said, next 30, 60 days. And they move around. Some of them kind of fall down here. And I've shown them a house. They moved around. Right. I take that list, it's on a note card, I pin it up on my wall. If you go look at my wall, I'm very visual. And if I manifest and I look at these people every single day, and I sometimes go find a property and pop it over to them and then give them a call. Hey, did you see that property I just sent you? It's like legit perfect for you from what we talked about. So I keep them on top of mind. I make my 100 calls minimum. Now that is even when I have showings, when I have inspections and closings. I mean, every week I have something going on. I still make the 100 calls at least. Now, Christmas week,
But you still made.
I was on vacation, but I
You
still made
still
some
made
calls.
Yeah, you gotta make.
You still made more
but I-
calls than a lot of agents who weren't out of town.
But I still stayed connected with the people that I know I needed to stay connected with. Like I have a client that's coming into town next week. I called her during the holidays. I also did one thing that you did as I sent out, this is Anastasia, I'm pointing to.
I used your thing, by the way, I loved it.
I used it, I had about 50 responses.
Yeah, it's great.
So I was going through calling them, thanking them, Happy New Year. It was wonderful. And that's another way to stay on top of mind for the clients. Also, we have that lovely room up front. I saw Roni in there this morning. Book time in that room. If you need quiet time, it gets crazy and loud in here. I don't call when everybody's like chit chatting and loud, or I walk. If you see me walk off, it's because, you know, I can't be in the noise, but the energy in here is amazing and I love it. So I definitely think you should book time in the call room or make your calls at home or whatever works for you.
But the
But,
beats really help because it drowns out everything.
right.
Yeah, but the goal is the same, right? The goal is
Let's make the
to
calls.
Make your call.
find time, sit down, focus on what you're doing, and make the calls.
But also be in the office where all the energy is.
Right.
So you have to find that balance. I go to every weekly sales meeting, period,
Religiously.
religiously.
I wish a few people were on the call about this.
I did miss one. It was during Christmas week, but I literally have gone to every one. So you know what that means? I do not schedule anything during that time. I don't schedule showings. I don't schedule inspections. They all have to go around that meeting on a different day. I also, I wasn't good at this in the beginning. I'm saying that because some of you have been around for a while, but I turn this off and I leave it here and I'll occasionally glance at it. Oh, got to call this. And I make my notes of who I need to call on a piece of paper while we're during the meeting or what I need to do that pops into my head, but I don't go run out and take that call.
So
I
she's
don't
been
care if
starting
it's a
to
lead.
take to every meeting like a pen and a paper to bring it, so that if she does get a call, make sure to call this person back. If it's in regards to a contract, it doesn't have to be answered right then and there. Putting out fires is a thing that you should do towards the end of the day.
And 2 reasons is you are being disrespectful to the person speaking, number 1, and number 2, you might miss a key piece of information. And these meetings are motivational, education, they're chock full of stuff that is very valuable. So I encourage you to always be at all sales meetings, period, end of story. And if you can't, they're recorded. So there's no excuses. I've attended every single power hour since I've been here.
And
Every
it's not
single
required
hour.
for top producers, so if you have 3 or more pending, it's not required for those people. But Courtney still shows up at every single one.
And I'll tell
And
you why. Because there's motivation, there's energy. Like, I don't know if you guys heard Yanni, like he's got great calls, but he had like 5 great calls in a row. And every time I listen to you and I listen to you and every one of you, I pick up something and I jot down little ideas of like, maybe I can something say that today.
Me too.
You know?
I listen to
And I
everybody.
change it up.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's works for me. So I review and update my goal tracker every single month. I go through the call count and I figure out how many calls I made for that following month.
So that's a monthly thing, not a weekly?
Every single month. Nope, every single month I go and I spend like the first day of the month filling in my goal tracker. And now I know,
Which is her.
Am I
business
on
plan.
track?
The goal tracker is
In the
business, in the
business
business plan.
yes, am I on track to make my goal? If I'm not on track, what can I do this month that was different than last month to make my goal? I'm planning my next move. And I made my goal this year, so. Communications. I do text messages once a month at least to all my leads. An email blast once a month at least to all my leads. This month, we've got a lot going on. We had New Year's. We have the, what's it called? The, yes, ma'am, homestead exemption. There's a lot of valuable information you guys can touch base with your clients on right now. I suggest you, when there's value, you share it. Also, I do mailers. I go into Canva and I make mailers. I send them out. I was doing it once a month. I kind of slacked a little bit, but I did it. I'm doing it again. But anyway, you target a neighborhood. Pick a neighborhood that you know about and just start doing the mailers. Start doing the door knocking. Start doing, if you can have their numbers, call them. Just do all the things.
What's the
But-
cost on the mailers for that approximately?
It's like 100 and something, but I was going to tell you later, but it's like a 150, let's just say, and it's the mailers, and then, but they give you all the names and addresses of everybody that you mailed those to. So now,
So you
This company-
you design it, they pull all the addresses and names, give it to you, and then how does it work?
so there's two different things. So there's one company, RSP, that I have used in the past and they will reach out to you when you sell something in a neighborhood, or even when you're the buyer's agent. And they have ones that you pick from, okay? And I thought, let me just try it. So I tried that, and I didn't end up liking the mailers that they did, but they gave me the list of all the people they mailed them
So
to.
they mailed them for you.
They mailed them for me.
Well, right, but
So I downloaded that list.
what she's getting at.
And
is
now
created
I
her
use
own.
that list with my own beautiful Canva creations and mail it out to people myself.
Okay, so to start, just go with Canva. But no, because you need the addresses. I see, okay.
And there's
other ways to
There's
get
other ways that
Okay.
you can get addresses. I mean, you can simply just go to IMAP and get the addresses. Her and I did this one time.
Yeah, then you just polygon out the,
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass, to
And
be
then, but
honest.
you're handwriting it all versus it coming from.
Right, I think
professional
you can
company.
actually mail from Canva though. I think
I'm not
there's
sure.
a way to actually do that.
You have to
But-
upload, yes.
But
Yes.
what Courtney was doing was, I don't know if anybody else was thinking this, but why would she mail multiple times to the same people?
Was my
Yeah.
first thought.
Because you have to think about, as a consumer, right? You're living in a home and you keep throwing
You keep
Courtney's
throwing them
picture
away,
away,
right.
right? But then you're driving through a neighborhood and then you see Courtney's pretty picture out front of the house. Now they're like,
That person.
I know
sold
that
something.
person. Who is that person? Then they get another postcard and then it's Courtney again. Now they
Yeah.
might take
They're
the
ready
time.
to sell
Yeah,
right
I
now.
can see
Or
how
their
And
that.
then
name-
who are they thinking of whenever it comes to real estate?
Or
They keep seeing her and throwing her away, but still she's top of mind.
And it's just like any email that you get over and over from a department store or whatever, you delete, the one day you need a new dress or whatever it is, or just that
Mhm.
catches your
Yeah,
eye,
no, sure.
you're ready
Familiar.
and you buy.
So
Yes.
how many clients have you actually got from the mailers?
Funny you say that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and it's all
How
tax
good it
deductible.
actually works.
Yeah, everything you do.
Everything is tax deductible.
so just recently I decided to target the neighborhood I live in. Who would have thought? Right? So I sent a I emailed everybody in the community. I had 4 calls from that. The community's not very big.
Wow.
So
Wait, how'd you get everybody's email?
somebody slipped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
Somebody
you
what?
can't
Somebody
normally do that.
slipped and put all the emails in there. So I
They didn't blind copy.
Oh,
they-
like when you have like an HOA email or something?
Somebody didn't blind copy.
That's cool.
That is.
Okay.
Good for you.
So we're almost to the end. So a few other habits that I have is call your past clients.
Yeah.
This is so important because, like I said, half my business came from referrals, and that was only a year in living in this state. Okay. So I have reminders set when they purchase 3 month or sell 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, all the holidays. And I touch base with them throughout the year, check in with them. They pop in my head, text them, how's the house going? How's everything going? You're still liking everything, blah, blah, blah. Because now I'm reminded, I've been reminding
I love that
them
you do that. I
they-
think about doing that all the time. I don't know how many other people like think about doing it, but I love that you actually do it because that, again, staying top of mind with that person.
it's worked. Ask for it. Ask every sale, every purchase for a referral. Sometimes people don't end up doing it, but the ones that do, you have those referrals. I have a bunch of referrals, like on Zillow and the different sites, because I asked for it. And that helps because I've had people actually reach out to me from finding me on the internet due to my referrals. That happened twice this year.
Reviews.
Yes,
You meant reviews.
reviews. Well, yeah, you're right. Referrals, ask your client, your past clients for referrals.
I don't know, if you guys listen to the stats that I gave.
So I am planning on, I said January is a loaded month with stuff that we can do, but one of the things I want to do is send out or call my clients and say, hey, I live on referrals. Like that's my business. And do you have any friends and family that have talked about wanting to move lately? I did that to one of my clients just recently. Yes, my father actually needs to sell his property. Now it's not in this area of Florida, but now I'm going to get a referral fee of 25% because I asked, do you have any friends and family?
And don't be shy about asking.
No.
The statistics that I was reading the other week were more likely than not, people are willing to give if asked.
Right, you just have
If
to
asked. So if you just ask, what's the harm? What's the worst they're gonna say?
No.
Same thing as putting in an offer.
Okay.
You know, we all have those clients who.
And another example, how good do you feel when you give somebody a recipe, like you made this awesome recipe, you gave it to your friend and they love the recipe. If they do that with you, they pass you on and their friend loves it, you know how good that feels.
Yeah.
So it's like the same. And then also ask for listings. Do you have a home to sell? I think we're going to be doing that on our power hour thing tomorrow. Ask. So many times people are like, yes, and sometimes they say yes, but I live in North Carolina. Do you know anybody? Hold on, I'll find somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Ask. Because if they're buying something, more than likely they have something they have to sell, right? Sometimes they're just renters, but sometimes they aren't. Now, another thing is a lot of my clients, it took a good year for them to buy something. Sometimes 6 months, sometimes, but some of them I'm still working with from a year ago. I'm still talking, they're still coming down. They're still coming down. So keep that in mind. And remember also, buyers buy like every 10 years. It's not like that, like,
Or less, yeah.
or less, but on average, it's every 10 years. So this is a big deal for them. And the reason I'm pointing this out is we do this every single day, right? We do it every day. It's like, okay, here, let's show the house. But you need to make it a little bit more special than that. Look at people like Maria. How does she dress every single day? Professional, right? She comes in professional. How does she talk to her clients? My pleasure. It was my pleasure. Come in. Here's some cookies and some water. She makes it very special because it is a special thing. Like 10 years, like that's like it's a special, and it's an event in people's lives. They're using like all their life savings or
Their home.
so you need to make it like an event. Like you get dressed. Like when you get dressed for an event, what do? You put on your makeup and you do your hair and you buy a new outfit. Make it special for people because it's an event. And also another thing, like I'm going to go show this client today. I've shown him about a dozen times. He still hasn't bought. I don't know if he'll buy today, but I'm going to go dressed up nice. I will have my piece of paper with all the information, just like I would do if he was my very first client. And I'm going to go and treat him just like it is my very first time showing him this beautiful home. And I may have to do that 10 more times.
You consider it a privilege to show.
Don't show up in your jeans and your like workout stuff. I see that all the time. It's just so unprofessional.
Can I just say one thing from the other species?
Who dresses up
which is dress, I dress up
Always,
always.
always.
But,
I've never seen
and
you.
this is what I'm trying to say, because environments are different, right? And I've had this experience before where I overdressed all the time. Not saying not to dress up and look presentable and clean, right? Because you want to be ready, you want to be prepared, and you want to come off professional.
Right.
But if you for instance, are showing beachfront condos, you're not going to walk around in a suit.
Maybe a linen one.
You're not going to walk around in a suit. You could probably wear a nice
Listen,
polo.
Lily Pulitzer and Ralph
When I-
Lauren count.
And I'm not,
It's okay.
I'm not
Yeah,
telling you what
it's
to.
different.
No,
She's
no,
not
no,
saying
no,
wear
no.
a suit.
Okay.
She's just
I'm not
saying
telling you what to wear.
And I'm just saying this because
Be
I'm
presentable.
still saying it from a male's perspective, from a female's perspective.
No, it's the same. No,
Right?
no.
For you guys, it's,
No. I'm in flip flops and a cute dress if I go to the beach.
do you see what
I'm
I'm
in a
saying?
different outfit.
Yeah, we all
But
see
that-
what you're
we're
saying,
not
but
saying
yeah.
that.
And that's what
She's
I'm
just
trying
saying,
to say.
don't show up in your
Yeah,
pants.
don't look. I mean, if you're
Holes in your
meeting,
clothes,
if you're
your
meeting
workout.
somewhere,
Really do that.
I mean,
No,
Yeah.
you're saying exactly what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Dress professionally. I'm
Dress
not saying.
professionally.
I'm not saying wear a ball gown,
So
everybody, and wear a suit. Like you don't have to. You
Yeah.
professional is
Yeah.
professional and
It's Florida,
clean.
most of the time it's hot, you wanna be.
Clean,
professional,
professional.
clean.
Like for
You all know what I'm
for
talking about.
guys, business casual,
It's
clothes,
fine.
Business casual is perfect.
perfect. You know,
You don't have to be in a suit.
Yeah.
I'm business casual right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not super dressed up,
No, but I.
but you
I mean,
look
I'm put
hot,
together.
skinny girl.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you, girl.
Okay.
Sorry, regroup, focus.
We have other people on this call.
They're all part of the family.
Okay, so some of the resources I use, like I mentioned Canva. I use those for mailers, I use those for my business cards, I use them for my social posts, and I use them for this presentation. So, and you can use them for presentations for your listing presentations, you know, like Canva's great. There, you can also make videos through Canva and do all the cool graphics and stuff like that. It's an amazing resource. Another resource is your community. Have you guys ever heard of that Nextdoor?
Yeah.
Go in there and introduce yourself. I'm a realtor in the neighborhood. Inventory's low. Anybody have a house to sell? Utilize it. Just let people know what you do. Facebook, share what you do on Facebook. Let people know, like, need a house in Florida, you know, or, you know, looking to move. Just every once in a while, let your friends and family know. Email blasts. RSP Pro. That's what I used to do the mailers, and it targets the area that you sold a house in, or, and then they give you the list of all the people they mailed it to.
You pay for that?
That's the one I paid $150, whatever it was, to try out. Another resource is other realtors. Become friends with them. The people that you work with, it's so important. Do you know how many deals I've gotten because I was friendly and knowledgeable and confident
Sure.
to the other realtor? And they said, I want to work with her.
trust me,
You know?
this business is
The
hard.
same,
The
yeah.
more realtors that you meet, you're gonna be like, you guys.
And guess what?
Maria
I've got,
gets deals sometimes
Yeah.
because of that.
Seriously.
so have I.
Yeah.
There's a realtor that I've gotten to know in one of the local condos. And now he calls me when he has a new listing because he knows I have some clients that are interested in that community. So he calls me first.
Build those relationships. Your
relationships are so
networking with
valuable.
your clients is just as good as networking with other agents and knowing them.
Yeah.
You do a deal seamlessly with an agent, you have another deal with them coming up, or you put in an offer, they're more likely to work with you because they know how you work, they know who you are, and they like your attitude.
And they'll refer you to if they don't have something, they'll refer you to their clients. If
So
it's
don't be an asshole.
Huh.
One more thing for all those single ladies and men out there, and even if you're not, you know, talk to your partner, might be okay. Match.com. I had 4 of my sales last year were through Match.com.
Is there a special unit on Match.com?
Nope. So
Meeting people.
what I
Because
did,
you know, Bumble, you can Bumble different ways. You can Bumble like.
no.
this, you can Bumble
This was Match.com, and I
Explore.
put Bumble on here too because I think they're all important.
Hey, shit on.
Your bios in there can speak realtor. Your bio can say, how do you spend your weekends? Well, normally I'm out showing houses or, you know, having brunch with my friends, walking my dog. Mix your
Life and
in there, you guys. 4 of them from last year. 4 of my sales were through freaking Match.com.
Even if you didn't want to date them, that's
No.
not going to fucking work.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't do that.
Nope. And
At least we'll get a shot.
we went They all were friend zone. We all, listen, they were all on the friend zone, but we had a nice drink. We talked about real estate.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you were
Wow.
networking.
Yes.
You put it out there that you
But
were
dating at
networking.
the same time,
I
right?
mean,
Wait, like lunch.
Getting a
dates?
free meal.
Dating with
Whoa,
intention.
whoa, whoa.
Wait,
Yes.
Dating with
I didn't
intention.
just go in there just to
Oh,
sell
okay, so I see.
houses.
It ended up being platonic, you ended up being
friends.
business.
So you guys, it works. It's
No,
a
that's okay. I can see
networking,
that.
even during a pandemic, you guys.
And this happened, we used to have an agent in the office who did that. He would go on Bumble dates, like coffee dates, let me just meet you, and then we just talk about his business.
I would be pissed
Okay.
off.
I would too.
Oh
I would be
my
so
gosh.
upset.
I would be
think of, like,
"Like,
Jen,
you're
how
not
many-
fucking
but
wasting
you
time."
guys,
like,
that's not
that's
how,
not the point.
that's not the freaking point.
I
This
mean, we're
is,
just-
the
we're
point
just
is
saying.
relationships.
yourself out there.
Network.
Yeah.
Network, use all your
Do you, Courtney,
resources,
do
you guys,
you-
and talk about what you do. That's, I mean, I'm telling you, my profile, everybody that I spoke to was like, oh, you're in real estate.
Yeah.
They knew.
Yeah,
And
it's
that-
on my profile, just that I'm a realtor and all right. Let me ask you something. Do you use, what's the other business one I never use?
Lincoln.
Bigger
Yeah, does
pockets.
anybody use LinkedIn?
I do, it's very good.
I've had,
Yes.
like, yes, absolutely,
LinkedIn's like amazing.
Yeah.
absolutely. You should, any resource
Shoot.
you have that
That's
is,
not fun for realists.
LinkedIn, yeah.
Yeah.
see,
That's pretty good.
Boom.
and that's all I
So you got,
Nice job, bro.
got. Bottom line, and we just said it, relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
Persistence. One of my clients said, Courtney, I mean, she's been in our community. I call it the community. It's our pond or whatever. She was in there for like 5 years or something. Over the last year, I was so persistent with her, even though I didn't know when she was going to buy, but I sent her the
Mhm.
listings. I did my follow-ups. I kept going because I knew they needed something, but they weren't ready.
Right.
But I knew that eventually, she goes, Courtney, I had other realtors reach out, but you were the one that was the most persistent. And they bought a $500,000+
That's
house.
awesome.
And hearing that.
And I'm
Yeah,
selling
I love
their condo, their little
And I
side
think
condo as well.
if they don't, they'll unsubscribe if they don't want it. They don't mind it.
Yeah,
No,
and hearing that too is, there's like such like a validating,
Yeah, it feels
Feeling.
good when they tell you like,
I
I'm gonna be
love
loyal
hearing
to
that,
you.
yeah.
and,
or
like,
I love just hearing like, oh, you're so tenacious.
Yeah.
You're so persistent. I kept seeing you all last year. Whatever it is, it's just, it feels good. Like I'm doing my job to help you. Because there is an element and there's a fine line between, follow up, and just follow up, sit back, relax, check in, sit back, relax, wait for them to be ready.
but also, make your calls. And then those weeks that you don't have all the showings and all the things, make 200 calls, double your calls.
Yeah.
You have to.
We're already making 200, but okay.
No, but that's make 400.
One person in this room making 200.
Yes,
Oh.
Anastasia.
No, that's you.
Oh.
No, it's not Anastasia.
Well, I guess because I'm not that big.
yeah,
into
Steve
it.
makes over 2.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you don't know
usually.
my schedule, so it's not the end of the week.
Okay, and the last thing,
Wait till Monday.
She's like, I'm coming for
You
ya.
guys don't know.
Well, I'm not even at 100 yet today.
and the last thing is just
Well,
have faith. It will all come. It did for me. Like trust
Yeah, that's
me, you
encouraging.
have to, because
It's hard.
it is very hard. Real estate's very hard. It takes a lot of work. People think it's just so easy.
It takes a lot of attitude.
I'm gonna get my realtor's license and I'm gonna go sell $1 million home this week.
It takes a
Guess
lot of
what?
work, and when you're not working another job, there's no money coming in.
Exactly.
It's scary as fuck.
It makes you
Exactly.
Well, so when you do your weekly emails, do you
It's really
rotate
hard.
the subjects, or like for instance, I know Roni said he got his subjects off of the NAR website. Do you?
I don't do weekly.
I mean, sorry, monthly. Well, I mean, Ricky Caruso says to do weekly. You're saying monthly, but
That's what I do. But weekly might even be better. I mean,
yeah.
maybe
Ricky
I will
Caruso
add
says.
weekly to my
Motherfuckers
new.
makes over fucking $1
year.
million a year.
Yeah.
It's good.
So
In a
So-
shitty market.
You know what? For me, it's just
not
it's
shitty
just
market.
topic.
It is shitty market. He's no,
Oh,
Yeah.
that sucks.
so monthly, right?
he
Okay.
makes over $1 million a year.
As far as your question, as far as topics go,
Yeah.
if a topic comes into my head that I think is amazing, like
Especially from the
homestead
meetings,
or
I
whatever,
think that's
especially from the
where-
meetings, there's so much valuable information.
But
There's
you send it to all
articles.
of your network, like for instance, a homestead email you wouldn't send to somebody in like New
No.
York.
Well, if they're buying in Florida, they might want to consider homesteading in
Yeah.
Florida. yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so you
It's
give them
tax
the
free.
info. Okay, so maybe I'll do that.
But sometimes.
Write
Because
it,
I mean,
write it
I
like
write
you're
things
writing
down.
it to everyone.
Yeah, that's what I do. I write
Right.
things down like from the meeting and then I'll, like the one that we had about the 8% appreciation for this year and that the interest rates aren't going down and they're only going up a quarter of a point next year. I wrote an email, people loved it.
And don't even just write the email. When you're use that piece of information on your phone calls when you're reaching out to people
That's
in the
what I've been
pond.
doing too.
It's such valuable
Yeah.
information. Change up your, and don't, change up your conversations. Like I said, I listen to some of the things you guys say and I'll pick it up and go, that's what I'm gonna start saying today. I love that intro, or that the information from the meetings. Gather a little bit of that. That's what you're gonna start telling everybody today. Pick something that's different. Don't just do the same thing every day.
So persistence, faith,
Farming.
and
Farming, I like that farming.
manifest your goals.
Thanks, Courtney, you did a great job.
Pound
Even
it.
with the technical. difficulties.
So what was your income in 2019 versus now? Because you said
Oh.
double. We don't know the number.
Income was
45 to 90.
Good
Oh,
job.
no, more than 90. Almost 100.
From 2019 to.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes.